It's me, Ari Dossett, Rashid. I'm your anthropologist and sociologist. Again, hit the like button, share this video, subscribe or live stream by this better said, subscribe to the channel, become a member of the channel, and don't forget, donate the links below. Thank you very much appreciated. Anyway, the topic of this live stream, the disappearance of Claudia Lawrence. Okay? I'm going to discuss this case with you from anthropological and, where possible, sociological point of view. Anthropology deals with the root philosophy of human populations and how it all works, and sociology deals with group dynamics in a given society or sometimes community. So you know the difference between anthropology and sociology. Well, I'm both an anthropologist and a sociologist. I do both. So we're going to discuss the case from an anthropological point of view, and from time to time I'll give some sociological insight in the case also, because it's a case that has affected not only the locals who actually have to witness this missing, but also the country Britain has been affected by it, and to some extent uh, online communities who are aware of this case. But anyway, before I continue, I want to check whether or not you can hear me clearly. So I'm checking on my iPad Pro over here, but you please let me know if you can hear me clearly too. Hold on. Where's my... hold on. Okay, you should be able to hear me clearly right now. Perfectly fine. And what I'm about to do is I'm going to leave the light chat open over here on my tablet, so I could just turn around and see it over here. So if you have any questions, meanwhile, that relate to this topic, please ask them. Okay. Hold on, let me. Okay, that's settled. Now, one thing I want to explain to you from the start is that when you're dealing with cold cases, you're dealing with a secret of the public, not an individual secret. Because often when we think about cold cases, especially when it relates to cold cases related to people who've been murdered or just disappeared, we think it's a secret of the perpetrator or the killer. No, it's a collective secret that you're dealing with. Okay? So, what I'm about to do now is I'm going to read the profile of this missing woman. At this point in time, no body has been found, so there's no forensic evidence that can prove she has been murdered or that she's even dead. Even though it's treated as a homicide investigation because there's a high probability she died, okay, but it's treated officially as a missing persons case because her fate is unclear. But let's read her profile, and I'm gonna give some anthropological remarks about her profile also. Okay, and don't worry, when I go into sociology, I'll tell it to you. I tell you, okay? So, okay. Hold on. I need to, yeah, I need to turn this off over here and present the screen. Hold on, guys. Can you all hear and see this? You can all hear me, but can you all see the screen after I'm sharing? Can you see the screen clearly? Let me know in the live chat, please. Well, for my tablet, it's visible. I want to check in case. Let me know in the live chat you can see the screen properly. I don't want StreamYard acting funny while I'm doing a live stream. Sometimes it happens, unfortunately. But let me know. Can you all see the screen? Oh, another thing. If you're driving a car now and you're listening to this live stream, pay attention to the road, please. I don't want any car accidents under my watch. Thank you. Okay. Tammy can see it. I'm glad you're here, Tammy. Miss M is here too. Maria is here too. Everyone is here. Let's help me know in the live chat, please. Thank you very much. Okay. Let me make this a bit bigger. Okay. Claudia Elizabeth Lawrence, born 27th of February 1974, is an English woman. For those who don't know, the United Kingdom is divided in constituent countries. Northern Ireland, Scotland, England, and Wales. Okay, so she's British, that's her nationality, but her ethnic background is English. So for those who don't know yet, let's continue. It's an English woman who was last seen and heard from on the 18th of March 2009. She was employed as a chef at the University of Rock's Goodrich, Goodrich College. I hope I don't pronounce it that the wrong way. If I did, my apologies. At the time for disappearance. Although the police have treated Lauren's case as that of murder, with various people arrested but later released, her fate is unclear. Here you can see a picture of her. Let me make it bigger. Beautiful young woman over here. Um, yes, from an anthropological point of view, it's interesting called an English woman, not a British woman. That shows you that the union called United Kingdom of Great Britain, Northern Ireland, is not that united. But it's good to remember such things. Okay, so when you do research, pay attention to such context. Okay, for example, if a woman went missing in the Netherlands, okay, and she has the Dutch passport, they will just call it a Dutch woman went missing. But if they would say Limburgian woman went missing, Limburg is a province of the Netherlands. In Belgium, you also have Belgian Limburg because the duchy was divided into in 1839. But anyway, if you read a Limburgian woman went missing, you say, why Limburgian? That's not a country. It should be Dutch. Okay. But when it comes to the UK, it's people are perfectly fine making distinction in English, British, Scottish, whatever. So pay attention to such stuff, okay? Now, let's go to background. Claudia Lawrence was born in Moulton, North Riding of Yorkshire in 1974. She spent her early life with her father, Peter, who died in 2021, mother, Joan, and older sister, Ellie. Lawrence's father was a prosperous solicitor. Okay. Her mother was a member of the Moulton Town Council and served a term as mayor of the town. Stop. Why I say stop is an important thing. This woman grew up in a political context. And you may say, Rashid, what does it matter? She went missing. Okay, I understand. There's a whole emotion around her being missing. People want to find out what happened. Is she dead? People want answers. Okay. But if you let your emotions take the best of you, you will miss out on important information that can help you solve the puzzle. Okay? Now, her mom served a term as mayor of this town. Okay? So, and her father was a prosperous solicitor. Okay, I'm not going to assume you all know what a solicitor is. Okay, so for those who are here who feel like I'm being condescending towards them by giving all these explanations, hey, just bear with me because some people don't know. Let me explain. A solicitor is a legal practitioner who traditionally deals with most of the legal matters in some jurisdictions. A person must have legally defined qualifications, which vary from one jurisdiction to another, to be described as solicitor and enabled to practice there as such. For example, in England and Wales, a solicitor is admitted to practice under the provisions of the Solicitors Act of 1974. With some exceptions, practicing solicitors must possess a practicing certificate. There are many more solicitors than barristers in England. They undertake general aspects of giving legal advice and conducting legal proceedings. In the jurisdiction of England and Wales, and in Northern Ireland, in the Australian states of New South Wales, Victoria, Queensland, Hong Kong, South Africa, what are called attorneys, and the Republic of Ireland, the legal profession is split between solicitors and barristers. Barristers also called advocates in some countries, for example, Scotland. We call them in Dutch advocaat, so that's similar too. And the lawyer will usually only hold one of the two titles. However, in Canada, Malaysia, New Zealand, Singapore, and remaining Australian states and territories, the legal profession is now for practice purposes fused, allowing lawyers to hold the title of barrister and solicitor and practice both. Some legal graduates will start off as one and qualify as the other. In the United States, the barrister solicitor distinction does not exist at all. So for those in the United States, you guys have the distinction solicitor and barrister. Okay? Quickly, barrister It's not going to take that long, but I need to give the context. A barrister is a type of lawyer in common law jurisdictions. What's a common law jurisdiction? A common law jurisdiction is, I'm not going to read all this for you. Let me just give the explanation to you, the anthropological explanation. Civil law derives from Roman law, is based on systematic rituals that keep the public at ease. Okay? Common law is derived from the Greek theater. It's based on what the public is responsive towards. Okay? That's the difference between common law and civil law. And explain from an anthropological point of view, okay? From a sociological point of view, it's just the law. But common law, and most common law countries are related to Britain. Common law is based on what is common and amongst people. So there's a lot of jurisprudence over there. So, okay, so let's continue. A barrister is a type of lawyer in common law jurisdictions. Barristers mostly practice in courtroom advocacy and litigation. Their tasks include arguing cases in courts and tribunals, drafting legal pleadings, researching the law, and giving legal opinions. Okay? Barristers are distinct from solicitors, are type of lawyers who have more direct access to clients and may do transactional legal work. In some legal systems, including those and the British Crown dependencies of the word barrister, also referred to as a honorific title. And in the past, used to wear these Baphomet wigs over here. It's religious, by the way, but I'm not going into that right now. But just understand, a barrister or is more someone who is more into researching the law, and they advocate directions for the law. And a solicitor directly is involved with pleading cases and enforcing a case. Okay? In the United States, they don't make such a distinction for some reason, but I had to tell you this. Okay, so her father was a prosperous solicitor, and legal cases are political. Okay, legal cases are political. Okay, whether you're dealing with things like abortion or with interracial marriage, or you're dealing with age of consent, whatever, whenever it comes to laws being enforced, you're dealing with a political dimension. And I will explain to you, politics is when the population wants something they can't justify, so they want the politician to act as a hitman to make it happen for them. In other words, politics is a way to get what you want using organized violence. That's what politics is. Now, politics that is recognized is perceived as legal, and we call them the authorities. Okay, so for example, if the British Parliament makes a law saying that let's make up something, you're not allowed to drink Coca-Cola while you're driving a car. In the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, if they begin to enforce this, people say, hey, it's the law, it's legitimate. They have the authority, the collective consent to do this. If the British Parliament would make a law that in France you're not allowed to drink Coca-Cola behind the steering wheel, now there's a problem over here. In both cases, it's organized violence through the police to get people to behave a certain way. But the people in France will say, this is France, this is not the United Kingdom. Why is the British Parliament have something to will over us here in France? People say then it's political violence. Now, violence is, let me say, politics is violent. Okay? There's no such thing as non-violent politics. All politics is violence. Okay? However, it depends on when the violence is perceived as legitimate, then we call it authority, or where the violence is considered illegitimate and we call it terrorism, or we call it an invasion, or whatever. For example, in the early 20th century, Canada was referred to as the Dominion of Canada. Canada was a constituent kingdom of the British Empire. It was a separate functioning country apart from Britain, but it was part of the British Empire as a jurisdiction. So the British Parliament could still make decisions above the Canadian Parliament. And people were okay with it because, hey, we're part of the British Empire. Since 1946, when a Statute of Westminster was adopted, this changed because the constituent kingdoms of the British Empire became equal to Britain. So with that, Canada, South Africa, and more of those constituent kingdoms were now treated completely separate. And in the 1980s, 1986, the little bit of legal oversight the British Parliament still had was removed. So in this case, in the beginning of the 20th century, if the British Parliament has anything to say over some village somewhere in British Columbia, in Canada, people say, hey, they're the authorities. If today they would do to say, what the heck, Canada is not part of Britain, nor the British Empire doesn't exist anymore. Okay, so understand this. Politics, by default, is violent. Okay, the population or a group of people want something to be done, but they don't want to face the confrontation and the conflict in getting it done. So they entrust some other group of people called politicians to use violence, organized violence, to get it done. That's what politics is. Okay? So every form of law is politically motivated. Why, for example, in France, this age for sexual consent is 15. Maybe it changed now, but it used to be 15. I hope it has changed now. But if in the Netherlands, it's 16. In the United States, it is kind of different. But age of consent, for example, in Japan used to be 13, but it went up. Why it went up? Due to political pressure. Okay, so we often think about this, but every law of the land is political. Okay, and every law of the land is a restriction. So if you are a solicitor and you're involved in legal matters, you are politically active. And Laura's father was a prosperous solicitor. Okay? And her mom became a mayor for a little moment. So even though she did not have any political position, she comes from political background. I hope this is clear onto you. Because if someone's from a political background, that means they're more likely to become the target of violence. Why? Because if you're from a political background, that means that you stand for certain things that may have upset other people. So if you're involved in politics, you will have enemies by default. So if you are involved in politics, whether in a field of law or directly in a government office, and you have children, your children may become targets. Okay, that's how it works in the world. So is it clear to you now that this woman, Claudia Lawrence, wasn't just any other English girl growing up in England? She had a political background, and that affected her life and how people treated her. Is that clear? Let me know in the live chat. Let me know. I'm taking my time to explain this all to you, so you have a better view of what's going on. Is this clear to you? Let me know. Miss M said here, I live in England. I know about the story. That's good. Now, let's continue now. Lawrence enjoyed a comfortable childhood and was privately educated at the York College for Girls. Well, that school has been closed in 1997, it appears. Okay, so let's look at that. So it also has a church background in it. It was a girls' school, okay? She later attended a local catering for college and qualified as a chef. She initially worked at several hotels and restaurants in York, but became tired of the unsocial hours this involved. Okay? In 2006, she found employment at the University of York's Guthrie College, working as a chef in the canteen of the university's main campus. So she worked at the cafe in the canteen, or that's another way to say cafeteria for university, in the main campus. So so she was also, I won't say a public figure because she wasn't famous, she wasn't a celebrity or anything like that, but she was someone that was noticed. Okay, because as a chef working at the main campus, people will see you. Okay, let's go to Guthrie College. Okay, Guthrie College is a college of University of York. It was founded in 1968 and named after astronomer John Guthrie. The college has approximately graduate. Okay, look at the shield over here. Post. So hold on. So it's a well-known college also of University of York, and University of York was established in 1963. They have a lot of academic staff, a lot of they have some quite some postgraduates. Okay, I want to show you all of this. This is the environment she was in. Okay, so the university expanded also, and she went missing in which year? 2009, right? Around the time the university was also expanding. So while she was working there at the university went through expansion. And but it didn't happen as quickly as people wanted to. So there was some hinder here and there. Okay, what was going on? Okay, here's the campus from the air, as you can see over here. All right, enough. Let's go back. So you also notice the context she was working in. Okay, so she worked at a university because the college was owned by university. She worked in a university environment, and university was in an expansion phase at the time. Okay, so this was also a political season for the university also. Politics seems to follow this woman, but anyway, let's continue. In 2007, Lawrence purchased a terrace cottage in the York suburb of Hayward, situated about 3 miles or 5 kilometers from her place of work. Lawrence was considered punctual and reliable by her employer. Okay, likely she got that from her father because in the field of law, you have to be punctual and reliable. Of course, else you were not going to make it. So, okay, Lawrence remained single throughout her life while enjoying a gregarious social life. Okay, what is a gregarious social life? Okay. Okay, so hold on. Let me accept all the cookies. What is gregarious? One, tending to associate with others of one's kind, marked by or indicating a liking for companionship, or of relating to a social group. Or can also, okay, let me go back. So she was social, she was not a loner, okay? She was reported to have engaged in a series of short-term relationships, often conducted on a concurrent basis. She was reported to have had a number of covert sexual relationships with men, some of whom were married or in relationships. Oh, okay. Red flag. Okay. You'll understand later why. Lawrence was discreet about this, and her family knew little about her relationships with men. This aspect of her life would later cause some media speculation and would also influence the police investigation of her disappearance. After moving to Hayward in 2009, Lawrence would regularly spend evenings at the Next Head pub, close to her home. Lawrence began relationships with several men whom she met while drinking in the pub, and her father admitted that the Delation had created awkward situations with her lovers' partners. Ooh, okay. Relations with awkward situations with her lovers' partners? Okay. Lawrence had holidayed several times in Cyprus, where she was believed to have explored job opportunities. Now, so she was discreet about, she didn't reveal much about her life to her relatives. Okay? Because the lifestyle she was living was not a lifestyle that was commonly approved by the community. And someone be upset with me right now, but I'm just going to say it. She was not sexually stable. Simple as that. She wasn't. It's maybe controversial to say, but someone has to say she was not sexually stable. Okay? And sexually unstable women tend to become the target of social unrest. It happened throughout history. Okay? Now, we're not going through all of this over here, or what I want to explain first is something I have over here on the whiteboard. So let me put on my camera again because it just closed off. Hold on. One moment, guys. I want to explain something to you very quickly, and then I'll continue with the case. It's important for you to notice. Okay, let me see if the camera is working. Hold on. Okay, can you all see the whiteboard? I hope you can. Oh, wait, I need to stop sharing the screen. Can you all see the whiteboard? Let me know, please. All right, let me zoom in a little. Okay, let me check. All right, now in the book of Revelations in the New Testament, we have this symbolic vision of this great whore riding the beast. And this great whore is called the great city that rules over the earth. Babylon the Great, mother of all harlots and abomination of the earth. And talks about her being drunk with blood, the blood of the saints. But anyway, what is the Babylon system? The Babylon system is simply established blood sacrifice. That's all what the Babylon system is. Okay? That's been around since ancient Babylon and ancient Egypt, and it's here still. It's how societies deal with their pollution. All right, so it goes like this: the public, because they don't serve the Heavenly Father, that means they are operating in darkness, they accumulate unrest. Human beings who don't serve the Heavenly Father, they accumulate unrest over time. Hold on, let me do it like this. Okay, this is much better. So eventually, there's going to be public disappointment or public embarrassment. Did I write it well? Okay, anyway, I don't care. Okay, I wrote very quickly, but anyway, there's public disappointment and public embarrassment, which will lead to, and so some scandal comes out or some failure comes out. It can be a financial policy failed, or it can be it's crop failure, so there's less food available in the community. Anyway, there is some failure that happens out there that people don't want to deal with. So there's public disappointment or sometimes just public embarrassment about the issue. People don't talk about it, but meanwhile, there's growing unrest. Okay? While the unrest is growing, people begin to deny the issue, whatever the issue is. But more people in the community become burdened with the denial. Denial will lead to mental dysfunction of public, also more mental illness. Eventually, this also leads to local disintegration. Locally, the public cannot function anymore in harmony because the denial brought for a lot of stress. The stress led to many people breaking down mentally. So there's more mental illness. Because more mental illness, more daily dysfunction, and there's more people don't want to acknowledge it also. So things begin to disintegrate. People don't feel connected anymore. People don't feel like they cohere anymore. People begin to avoid one another. It's going to be also more conflicts in the households. At this point, people now really want to get rid of the unrest. But the still unrest is growing now because things are disintegrating. And at some point, people begin to look for the victim. And what's going on now is that the population just wants an outlet for all the unrest that's haunting them. But the thing they should be doing is admitting that they, as a population, are the source of the unrest and they need to repent. Because if all human beings would serve the Heavenly Father, there wouldn't be any unrest accumulating. Okay? But hey, they don't want to do that. So just like you are shuffling some cards and it all gets chaotic, messed up, you know what I mean? That's how it is with the population. You can even mix them, like this. Totally chaotic. Some cards are up, some cards are up, some are down, whatever. This is how the human community becomes. Everyone is losing against one another. They're going off. And while that is going on, they begin to look for the victim or the sad joker. Okay? So what happens then is that once people are looking for the victim, they will look for anyone who's a bit deviates from the common expectation. It can be that you have a blue back instead of a red back like everyone else. It can be that you're brunette and not blonde like most people are in the community. Or it can be you're from a different background. It can be you're disabled physically, you're in a wheelchair. Or it can be that you're not sexually stable as a woman. You're on and off sexually with men. Or it can be as a guy you still have no children or you're still single, whatever it is. Once the victim selection begins, the public begins to look for outlets. So multiple people can be targeted with negative projection. And then, once they found their joker, now two things can happen. Either the public as a whole will go off at the victim and lynch the victim. That used to happen in ancient times quite often. While today, with the police forces out there and people needing a job to pay rent, it's not going to happen quickly. But in this case, you will have some satanic cults doing the dirty job for the public. The victim gets murdered, okay? And while the news out the victim is either missing or murdered, people now experience this discharge, like finally, because at this point, everyone believes the joker or the victim is to blame for all the unrest because they projected all the blame on the scapegoat. So once the scapegoat is murdered or went missing or damaged, whatever, people have this discharge. Finally, something is done. And then slowly the society will ease again. But then at some point, maybe in a few years, again, there's public disappointment and all cycle begins again. This is a cycle of Babylon. Okay? And that's why in the book of Revelation in the Bible, Babylon is personified as a great whore. Okay, just like women have a menstrual cycle in which they eventually have a discharge when they have the periods. In a similar way, human societies tend to have a growing unrest, and then they have their discharge of blood by killing the scapegoats. And of course, eventually, they need more and more jokers. But this is quite embarrassing in itself. So that's why they have another type of victims called the celebrities And celebrities are the happy jokers who always have to cover up this, what's going on with a sad joker. Now, as I mentioned before, the whole community or society is in a big mess, going off at one another. That's what goes on. The reason why they suddenly all go off at the scapegoat, for example, let's put the scapegoat in between. They all go off at the scapegoat over here, is eventually to achieve rest again. You know what I mean? That's the purpose of it. Now, and of course, you have celebrities that need to cover up all the embarrassment that goes on. I want to explain this to you. Okay? Now, what I want you to do now is to look at this cycle. Okay? And I'm going to wait for 30 seconds to give you a chance to ask any questions. If you have any questions about this, let me know now within the next 30 seconds. I'll be right back. All right. I'm back. I had to use the restroom very quickly. So, okay. There are no questions about it. So, I hope I didn't make any spelling mistakes over there. Okay, there's a question over here. Does this happen on a micro level on a daily basis? I've been starting to notice it in daily affairs at like work. It happens on a local basis too, but most of the time it happens on a societal level. Hold on. Okay, my bad, guys. Um, I wrote it too quickly. I forgot one S over here. My bad. Anyway, I don't care. Yes, it happens on multiple levels. But okay, let's go back to the case of. Hold on, let me share the screen again. Share screen. All right, let me. So I want to explain this to you because I had people asking me, Rashid, do you think this was a ritual murder? So I thought, you know what, I can't just make a conclusion whether or not it was a ritual murder without looking into it first. And I looked into this. Hold on. Let's see. Okay. I looked into this matter, and I have to say, it seems a lot uh, like a ritual murder to me. But again, I have no conclusive proof for that yet. So we're looking at it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to check the data of the disappearance, and then I'm going to check some of the media outlets how they've been reporting about it, and I want to show a little bit of a TV show talking about it too. But first, let's go to this part over here. Okay, this is how it went. At 6 a.m. on the morning of 18th of March 2009. By the way, in 2009, that was the year social media actually kind of became dominant. Okay, social media existed before 2009, but it wasn't really such a big thing in daily life. So remember, it's a different time. Even the phones were less complicated than now. Lauren started her shift at Guthrie College Roger Kirk Center. She completed her shift at 2 p.m. and was recorded on CC footage leaving the college on foot a few minutes later. Around 3 p.m., just an hour later, she was recorded on CCTV passing a shop in Melrose Gate near her home and was seen by a neighbor. Okay? During the course of the evening, Laura spoke to both her father and mother on a mobile phone. Her mother described Lauren's mood as normal and relaxed. The two women discussed celebrating the forthcoming Mother's Day. Lawrence told her mother that she was at home and that she planned to retire early since she would have to rise before 5 a.m. the next day in order to walk to work, her car being under repair. Okay. She sent a final text message from a mobile phone at 8:23 p.m. and a final incoming text was received at 9:12 p.m. Thereafter, nobody is known to have seen or heard from Lawrence. She was about to go to bed early because she had to walk to her place of employment, which was around 3 miles or 5 kilometers. Okay. Okay, let's go over here. And be patient. We're going deeper into things very soon. On the 9th of March, this is 2009, Lawrence was scheduled to start work at 6 a.m. She did not report for duty. Her manager called her mobile phone number, but although the phone rang, the call was directed to voice messaging. The manager took no further action. Lawrence had previously arranged to meet her friend Susie Cooper at the next head that night. Cooper attended the appointment, but Lawrence did not. Cooper then attempted to contact Lawrence by telephone. Lawrence was normally a prolific user of her phone, a Samsung SGH D900. You can see it over here. So Cooper was surprised when she was unable to attract a response. Cooper attempted to contact Lawrence again on the morning of Friday, 20th March, but again without success. At this point, Cooper became alarmed and contacted mutual acquaintances, including George Foreman, landlord of the next head, to obtain information concerning her possible whereabouts. Okay, the next head. Okay, let's look that up. Hey, this is how we do research. Okay, I'm going to Google Maps to find the next head. Next head, York. Yeah, found it over here. So let's bring it on. Okay. Yeah, you should be able to see that clearly. And I'm not sure which one it is, but one of these houses over here used to be the house of Claudia Lawrence. Okay, and this is the next head. Okay, so okay, let's go to the street view. Okay, no, this is not the way to go. Yeah, here it is, the next head. Okay, you can see it clearly. Okay, and things have not changed that much since 2009. So let's go further. So one of these homes over here, let me see like this, the street going in. So one of these homes over here used to be Claudia Lawrence's. Okay, so okay, let's end the street view. Okay, where was it again? Our next ad is over here. Now, let's go back to this here over here. If you met with your friend at a pub very close to her home and you couldn't reach her, why didn't you go to her house asking where she is? I mean, if her house is so close to the pub, then Why don't you do that? Okay, so that's the first thing that's a bit weird about this case. So Roger Kirk Center. Let's type it in. The root. I hope it shows the right place. Yeah, Roger Kirk Center. You can see it down here. All right. How many kilometers is that? Let me see. Almost 3 miles. So yeah, it's around 5 kilometers. Okay, and as we can read over here, it was about 3 miles. It's 5 kilometers. So when you look at this, it's about 3 miles also to get there. So she would have to walk all of this for over an hour in the morning to go to work the day she went missing. Hmm. So look at all these places that she walked by. Look at all these houses. Look at all these public spaces. There's a church over there. Look at all of this. You mean to tell me nobody noticed anything? Uh, nah, I don't buy it. But okay, let's continue. Okay. Cooper telephoned Claudia's father, Pete, on 20th March to report the situation. Peter telephoned his daughter's manager at Goodrich College and was told that she had not reported for duty on either the 19th or 20th March. Peter then entered Claudia's home using his own key in company with George Foreman. The two men found the house to be in an orderly state. The bed was made and there were unwashed dishes in the kitchen sink, suggesting she had eaten breakfast. Lauren's handbag containing her purse, bank cards, and passport was in the house. The only significant items missing there were a mobile phone, a set of hair straighteners, and a rucksack which she normally used to carry her chef's whites to and from work. Indications that there were that Lawrence had left the house normally to go to work at around 5 a.m. on the morning of 19th of March, but have never arrived. The North Yorkshire Police was contacted at around 2 p.m. on the 20th of March in order to report Lawrence as a missing person. Okay? Police officers met with Lauren's father at her home later that day. North Yorkshire Police was initially slow to act on the grounds Lawrence was not a vulnerable person and there was no obvious evidence of violence. They considered it likely that she had decided to absent herself and would reappear a few days later. However, North Yorkshire Police officers checked her routes to work and sent out a public request for information. Lauren's family became increasingly insistent that she must have been abducted. After 5 weeks, North Yorkshire Police upgraded the inquiry from a missing person to one of suspected murder. Within 5 weeks. 5 weeks is a little bit more than a month. So they offered rewards to get information. Even on YouTube, they became active to ask for information about the case. Some people were arrested, others were released. So the case turned cold. Now, again, what is weird over here is that a woman with a political background, though to her parents, doesn't show up for work. The situation is unusual, but the police was saying she may have wanted to disappear by her voluntarily and she may appear later. Based on what did they conclude this? Okay, she was a grown woman. Okay. At the time she was 30. 35. Okay. So, okay, she was a grown woman. She was working. She was, but how do you mean she was not a vulnerable person? I mean, what? Um, okay, so you see a disconnect over here. Someone that comes from a political background is more likely to be the target of violence. Listen, if you go to a bank and you want to open a bank account, they may ask you whether you are a politically exposed person. It's one of the questions you need to answer. Now, maybe in the United States of America, it's not like this because I have lots of subscribers from the United States of America. But here in Europe, most banks, when you open an account, you need to uh, reveal whether you're a politically exposed person. What does it mean to be a politically exposed person? Let's see if they have an article about it. No, I don't know if they have an article about that over here. Politically exposed person. No, they haven't made an article about it, but that's a shame. But politically exposed persons, when either you hold a political office or a position with a lot of political, that's politically sensitive, or one of your parents or uncles did, or say close relatives. If you are a politically exposed person, because either you or a close relative of yours is politically active, or they have a political function, or a function that is politically sensitive, the bank will reconsider where they want you as a client, because having you as a client may affect them. They will put some extra checks on you. That is how it goes. So how come when you want a bank account, they check your political sensitivity as one of their clients, while the police does not check your situation when something like this happens? With her background, her being politically exposed, they should have been on the case harder from the start. All right. So hold on. Let me go and check the live, see if there's any questions in there. Let me see. Let me check the live chat. Um, some individuals, so James said, uses code with Gemante if it's a ritual. Often, but not always. Kelly said they always do that. They go from missing to the suspect under without investigation for kidnapping. They say that too. She decided to, I think means she decided to leave. And then they say you don't know them well. They could have left without telling you. Okay. Now, I mean, so let's sum it up for now. I'm not done with the live stream yet. Absolutely not. Let's sum all we have discussed till now. You have a politically exposed young woman who has an unorthodox lifestyle that even a lot of people in the world would not approve of. She keeps this lifestyle hidden from her relatives as much as possible because she knows it's not accepted. She works also at university, which is not directly political, but it's kind of like a gray area also. She now had conflict with various women because she used to sleep with the partners of those women. And then one day, she suddenly doesn't show up for work. One of her friends who was about to meet her at the pub very close to her home, walking distance, she doesn't show up. And the police say, oh, she decided to leave voluntarily. The whole context doesn't add up. And what happened afterwards was that the public was reluctant in helping the police solving the case. Oh, you want proof? Okay, I'm going to the media articles now. Okay, this is Sky News. You have the Sky News over here. It says Claudia Lawrence police appeal 15 years of disappearance of university chef. North Yorkshire Police has conducted 2 investigations and questioned 9 people, but no charges have been brought. This article from the Monday, the 8th of March, 2024. So it's, today is the 6th of April, 2024, so it's not that old. Okay, it is her and her dad. Okay. Um, so well, look, I don't want to go through all the article, but you know what? Let me read the article with you so you understand why I highlight certain parts. Let's read. Detectives have marked the 15th anniversary of the disappearance of university chef Claudia Lawrence with a plea for those with information to break their silence. It is a plea for those with information to break their silence, which means people are silent on purpose. Okay? Miss Lawrence was reported missing after she failed to report for work at York University in March 2009. Her disappearance has been treated as a murder inquiry by North Yorkshire Police almost from the start. Yeah, almost from the start. Minus the first 5 weeks. And the case has become one of the best known unsolved crimes of recent decades. On Monday, Acting Assistant Chief Constable Wayne Fox insisted the inquiry was not closed. So they're still investigating. This is what it said. Having appointed senior investigating officer in October 2020, I'm fully aware of the complexities that exist in this inquiry, which sadly has to be treated as that of a suspected murder. Complexities? What complexities? Okay? Someone is missing, likely murdered. The killer's out there. What's so complex about it? Let's continue. However, the single barrier to unlocking the answer of Claudia's loved ones and bringing those responsible for her disappearance to justice remains the same: silence. So even the police is saying that the public is in on it. Wow. Okay, let's continue. Silence from the people who know or may suspect what happened to Claudia, but have so far, for reasons that are only known to them, been unable to come forward to the police or even pass on information to Crime Stoppers anonymously. So let me get this straight. People can go to the police and tell what they know, or they can also get information anonymously. So they don't even have to mention their name, their age, so they can't be traced. And the chief constable, is that the title? He was the senior investigator is saying people for some reason don't want to comply. They stay silent for reasons only known to them. He's being politically correct over here. He does not want to say on camera and in the mainstream media that the public's in on it, because that would expose British society right over there. So he's very diplomatic about it. Okay, and in British culture, it's kind of required for you to be diplomatic about conflict to de-escalate. Contrary to Dutch culture, where I grew up, where people just throw everything out without regard for your feelings, in Britain, people are raised to be a bit more diplomatic. I say a bit, because even in Britain, you have people losing it, but you get what I mean. Okay? So, the reasons as to why they have been unable to come forward. Unless they've been in a coma for the past 15 years, or they've passed away, there's no justifiable reason for them not to come forward. Just think about it. A young woman who was not a criminal, she was not a, a troublemaker in a sense, she was directly causing trouble to the community. Well, she did cause trouble sexually and to other people's sexual relationships. That's what she did. Let's be frank about it. But she was not a die-hard criminal, nor part of a criminal organization or a terrorist organization. She wasn't anything like that. She was a woman based on societal standards, a commoner who just went to work, contributed to society, paid rent, paid taxes, and she suddenly disappears. She's likely murdered. And this happens in your city where you live, where you and your children are growing up. And you are and you're not motivated to do something about it to help out to find out what happened? Nah, no good reason. Let's go further. However, my plea to them on reach the 15 years of living with the knowledge you have is to do the right thing and make a report. You can help bring an end to the pain and uncertainty for Claudia, her mom, and all who love her. North Yorkshire Police has conducted 2 investigations and questioned 9 people, but no charge have been brought. The last major police operation in relation to the case was 2021. For now, that's 3 years ago, when the officers spent several days conducting extensive search of flooded gavel pits at St. Houghton, New York. Mr. Fox said the investigation has been in a reactive phase since 2017, but he said, I again want to make it clear that the investigation is not closed. He added, speaking purely as a parent, my thoughts as we enter the 15 years since Claudia Lawrence was reported missing remain with her mom, Sean. I cannot begin to understand the pain that Sean and her family feel every single day. Mr. Fox said he was also thinking of Miss Lawrence's father, Peter, who campaigned for his daughter to be found but died 3 years ago without ever knowing what happened to her. Miss Lawrence was 35 when she went missing and would have celebrated her 50th birthday in February. Hold on. Her birthday is in February. Okay? Okay, where's the Wikipedia page? Okay. Yes, 27th of February. Okay? So she recently had her 35th birthday when she went missing. Less than a month after birthday, she went missing. Okay, that's interesting too. Okay? But I want you to pay attention to this. This article may explain the only reason this case is not solved because the people don't want it to be solved. Okay? So, what I'm going to do now, this is her mom, by the way, I'm going to play a little bit of a broadcast, not all of it. I will give my commentary on it. Okay? Remember what I told you. Cold cases are nothing but public secrets of the population. That's what it is. Okay, so I need to check whether or not you can hear this. So let me go to the settings. Okay. Let me know if you can hear it. By the way, YouTube, fair use. Okay? I'm allowed to use copyrighted material for educational and commentary purposes. Okay? Let me know if you can hear it. If you can you hear it? Can you hear it properly? If not, I'll need to adjust something with the settings. You can hear it better. Just let me know, please. Okay, you can't hear it, so okay, let me change the sound settings. Okay, audio. Okay, okay, hold on. Let's try it like this. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, so Okay, let me try it again. Okay, let me try it again. Let me know if you can hear it. Okay, like that. Anyway, if you have questions about information till now, let me know in the live chat, please. If you have questions about the information till now, questions about the information till now, let me know in the live chat, please. Okay. Meanwhile, I'm looking for a way to make this sound thing work. If you have any questions about the case till now, let me know in the live chat. If you have any remarks, those are welcome too. Because I know I shared a lot of information. I gave a lot of commentary. So if you have any questions, let me know now. Meanwhile, I'm checking this over here. Okay. Kelly asks, what evidence there to believe she was murdered? Did they find messy blood? As far as what the police has revealed, they found no conclusive forensic evidence that she has been murdered. Okay, we don't even have a body. All right, so hold on. All right, so they have no direct evidence. But one thing I also consider is a bit weird about this case is that, let me say it like this. People only focus on her going missing, and maybe it's because of her sex life that she went through, all this, that she's gone missing. But why don't they pay attention to the political context of it? I hope I'm not the only one out there who's addressing this political context. Because if that's the case, it's a bit tragic. All right, so okay, let me try it right now. Let's try it this way. Hold on. Let's try it again. I don't understand why it's not working. Hold on, guys.
Have you? And that silence. Hello, and welcome back to a brand new series of Crime Suspect. Each week, we'll be unraveling.
Can you hear it? Let me know, please. Let me know if you can hear it. That's all we need now for you to hear it. Can you hear it? Okay, good.
Some of the UK's most prolific crimes, as well as providing in-depth analysis on the criminality that plagues our nation. On the show today, missing or murdered? The case of Claudia Lawrence saw numerous appeals, arrests and searches, but her body has never been found. Now, as police launch a fresh investigation 15 years on, could one of the country's most intriguing unsolved crimes finally be solved? Next up, we'll be bringing you the best and worst of policing without good cop, bad cop. And finally, it's your chance to book a crook as we show you this week's Wanted. Joining me.
So, let me give a little bit of context. In this show, they're going to discuss the police investigation to find out how is it possible it's still not solved. That's what they're doing. Okay? So, let's continue.
For all of this today is criminologist and author James Treadwell, journalist and author Neil Root, who has written the excellent book Gone about the disappearance of Claudia Lawrence. Editor.
Just look at the expression on their faces. That shows you that they know that something is up here. Let's continue.
And co-founder of the Steeple Times, Matthew Steeples. And last, but certainly not least, former police inspector and now a visiting lecturer at Leeds Trinity University, Martin Holleran. Thank you all for being here. Now, you have the right to remain watching. This is Crime Suspect. This year marks the 15th anniversary since Claudia Lawrence vanished on the evening of March the 18th, 2009, sparking a £1 million manhunt and making it the biggest and most complex missing person inquiry in the history of...
He mentioned the number £1 million manhunt. Why is he mentioning the financial part? Okay, let's continue. Okay, hold on.
North Yorkshire Police. Claudia was 35 when she disappeared on her way to work at York University. Police believe that she was murdered and have desperately probed into her past, her relationships, and her work life in an effort to find her. Early in the investigation, a number of people were arrested, but no one has been charged. And despite a string of theories over the years, including fears she may have been trafficked to Amsterdam or moved to Cyprus.
Hold on. Trafficked to Amsterdam. Now, as you all know, prostitution is legal in the Netherlands. Oh, Tammy said I must go. I'll watch it later. Okay, that's fine. You can always watch it later. The replay, no problem. Traffic to Amsterdam. In the Netherlands, prostitution is legal as long as you are registered as a pimp or also as a prostitute in the Chamber of Commerce. So as long as you have a tax code and you pay taxes for the whoremongering, you're ready to go. Hey, I'm not making this up, okay? And it happens that there are people who end up in prostitution in the Netherlands, of which on paper it's legal, but actually forced in that situation. It happens, trafficking happens in the Netherlands. So her being trafficked to Amsterdam, why was there no Dutch public inquiry about this? Okay, let's continue.
Claudia's disappearance, sadly, remains a mystery. Martin, the latest senior investigating officer to be in charge of this case, a detective called Wayne Fox, has said that silence is what is probably obstructing the inquiry. What do you think it would take for somebody who knows vital information to break that silence and come forward and tell what they know?
I think he makes somebody within the community does know and is aware of potentially what happened to Claudia is probably true. And I think that people should feel safe in the knowledge that they will be supported by the police if they came forward. It's 15 years since Claudia disappeared.
Wait. People should feel safe to come to the police. So what she is hinting at is that maybe people don't feel safe to come to the police and talk about it. Let's address why people wouldn't feel safe to come forward to the police. Okay, let's continue.
And I think now is a very important time to keep this in the public eye for the sake of Joan, her mother, and it's a time.
Keep it in the public eye. It's been in the public eye for 15 years, and still people aren't talking. What makes you think that keep it long in the public eye now so many people talk? We had 15 years to talk about it. Okay, let's continue. Hold on.
Time that somebody could come forward after 15 years and feel safe in the knowledge that they will be supported by the police service.
Feel safe. Feel safe. Why do you mention safety? That people don't feel safe to talk about it. If people don't feel safe to talk about the case that has nationwide attention, even international attention, it means there's something about the case that doesn't add up, and they figure out if they come out mentioning what doesn't add up, they may become a target too. All right? So let's continue.
And the local community as well.
Yeah, because we often hear these days, don't we, when the police say allegiances might change over the years. That's a common line that they use. And
Allegiance might change. Allegiance and loyalty are not the same thing. Loyalty is you aligning with a cause or individual. Your allegiance is what you are faithful to the core. If you are a British national and you are critical of Britain, there comes a point you will cease being critical if it undermines your allegiance to Britain. Okay? If you serve in the US military as a US soldier, your allegiance is to the United States. The moment you make opinion, the moment you express opinions that undermine the functioning of the United States in foreign policy, you will be called out by superiors in the military because it breaches your allegiance. So they say allegiance may change over time. So what this suggests is that people have a vested interest in keeping this case silent. But over time, allegiance may change. Why would allegiance change? So what is the benefit that keeps them silent? If the benefit is changing over time, so is the benefit financial? What is the benefit that is fading that makes people want to suddenly talk about the case? Let's continue. Hold on.
And also, on a number of other cases, the police have said, we have experience in looking after people that come forward. If a vital witness would have to have their life turned upside down because, for example, they had to go into witness protection, would you be confident that North Yorkshire would reinvent that person, look after them suitably, and ensure that they had a satisfying life going forwards after that?
Absolutely. I appreciate that the person would have to give up a previous life and give up attachments that they've forged over a number of years. But I feel absolutely sure that North Yorkshire Police would support them in a future life-changing event that they need to go through.
Okay, one quick context over here. Witness protection. Not everyone who comes forward to the police receives witness protection. Okay? Doesn't happen. It doesn't happen like that at all. So, it's quite simple. When a case is politically sensitive, either because the criminals involved have a lot of leverage in the community, or because the perpetrator may involve someone with high position in government, whatever, and you come forth, the police may decide to give you another identity to protect you. But that means you have to leave behind your mom, your dad, your children, your job, everything, and you have to start a new life on a new identity. Now, witness protection is often offered to people who are the victim of sex trafficking, or people used to be member of, criminal organizations like the mafia or a local gang or whatever. Or it may be offered to people as a form of political asylum. Let's say you are from a country where there's a dictatorship going on, and you, as a asylum seeker, escape, and now you get a new identity in the host country, helping to undermine the dictatorship in your country of origin. So witness protection is only considered when it's a politically sensitive case. So what I tell you before, this woman had a political background. It should have been considered from the start. Okay, let's continue.
And you had the cooperation of Claudia's late father, Peter, may he rest in peace. From everything that I've read about this case, this is not serious organised crime. So therefore, the necessity for somebody to perhaps go into witness protection and reinvent their life might not actually be a necessity. What's your thoughts on who may or may not be responsible?
Over the years, I mean, when I first wrote the book, which is 11 years ago now, I was very open-minded at the time because there were no pointers, and I entertained it could be a random predator or somebody she knew. But over time, I firmly come to the conclusion in my own mind, just my opinion, that it was definitely somebody she knew personally. And that's why I really don't believe a few years ago that people were pointing the finger at the convicted murderer, Christopher Halliwell. I really didn't believe that somebody like him. But I also have come to the conclusion, actually, I thought this quite early on, I think she never left for work that morning. I personally think that she went the evening before. I personally think when she spoke to her mother, Joan, she might have been in the house or she might have been somewhere else. I've got a feeling she went to somebody's house and never left, or got in a car with somebody and never arrived at their house. A lot of the witness sightings on the early morning, maybe, although they have to be investigated, maybe it's like red herrings, personally.
Just a quick question. In all the time that you spent on the ground as a journalist and author, were you ever warned off or subjected to any threats?
I was never actually threatened or warned off. I even spent a night in the Nag's Head, to get a feel of it. I mean, 3 years later, obviously.
Yeah.
And I went down to the bar for a few drinks, if I could pick anything up. I did find hostility, but it was mainly because Fleet Street had turned over Heworth 3 years previously. And I had people say, we don't talk about that anymore. We don't want to talk about that.
The reason I...
Hold on. So 3 years into the investigation. Okay? 3 years into the investigation, this journalist is there. Even though he claims he was never threatened directly, people are telling him we don't talk about it anymore. What? It's been only 3 years a woman has been missing. And already people are saying we don't talk about it anymore. Huh? What? Okay, let's continue. Hold on.
raise it is because I've read a lot of articles about threats being issued to journalists, so naturally I was going to ask you. And on that very note, threatening journalists attempting to report on Claudia's disappearance has been common. And according to one startled Sky News reporter, who was the North of England correspondent, Gerald Tubb, when he was investigating and reporting on Claudia's disappearance, he wrote an article in 2015, and he wrote, "For a privately educated daughter of a country solicitor, Claudia had some unusual acquaintances, and this remains the only missing person case where I've been warned off or threatened, not once, but twice. He also went on.
So here you have one of the journalists noticing, hold on a minute, a woman that, with her background is unlikely to have the acquaintances she had in her life. So there was a disconnect with how she was raised and the life she had later on. And she became a chef. Now, if she did not want to do a bachelor's or master's degree, but she preferred to do cooking, that's fine. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, but if the acquaintances she had were a bit off with the way she was raised, and this journalist was threatened twice, and another journalist, the one who's sitting there in the show, says, people told her we don't talk about that anymore. I told you it's a public secret. Let's continue.
On to say, and while there's so many undercurrents to the mystery, with some people still unwilling to talk to journalists and others issuing warnings or threats. Now, James, I heard some murmurings from this side of the room when Neil was speaking, but specifically when phones were mentioned.
I think Claudia's mobile phone, for me, holds many of the keys, and that's one of the reasons that the police have never fully revealed, for example, the geolocation of where those final phone calls to both her father and mother were made from.
Hold on a minute. So they spent over more than £1 million into this case from the tax money from the public. People that were investing in the case have been threatened and warned off. But they don't want to reveal the geolocations from where the calls were made from, something could actually help solve the case. Let's continue. Let's continue.
I think what we have to understand is that a narrative was established around this case very early on. The trap is easy to fall into, that this is an abduction, as it were. What we know with certainty, and we don't know a lot with certainty here, but we do know that her house was not the crime scene, or the scene of Claudia's murder.
Or abduction.
Or abduction. Her mobile phone was deliberately disconnected at 12:05. But if Claudia did not leave her house on the morning, and if the eyewitness testimony that framed the investigation at the early stages was one of a number of errors, indeed, the very photo fit that was issued to look like Claudia with blonde hair didn't look like her at the time, there were mistakes made. And of course, her disappearance is only belatedly discovered. The definitive narrative that's kind of come out has been in the early stages the disappearance and then an abduction, and we don't know that that's the case. What we do know with a greater degree of certainty is that when people come to harm, it's very, very rare that happens at the hands of a stranger. It's far, far more likely that it's at the hands of a person or persons who are known to them. And I think what we likely see in this case is that all of the evidence is actually there already in the files and in the investigations. The reason that the police are appealing, and it's not just saying sometimes that people aren't telling us things, the police have also said at stages that people are deliberately lying to us, they are misleading us. I think...
Lord have mercy. Did you hear that? There are people willfully lying to the police, knowing that obstructing an police investigation is a crime and they can go to prison for it. So let me get it straight. There are even people willing to lie and mislead the police and waste the police time in endangering investigation, knowing that doing this can get them in prison or get them a criminal record. That means people are dedicated in not wanting this to be solved. And they say, we're certain it's not an abduction at their house. Okay, but people don't have to be abducted at their house. People can be abducted on the street. And if it's the case, often that when people are abducted, they're abducted by people they know, then that already shows it's a conspiracy of silence. Let's continue.
There is there are answers there, and there are answers there within a 10-mile location of when Claudia went missing, and within a 10-hour window of that time, and the case is still solvable. It's very, very solvable.
I've got to agree with the points that have been made. I firmly believe that it is somebody that's known to Claudia, either that she's been in a relationship with or wanted to have a relationship with her. There must be some connection, because as we say, in most disappearances or most murder investigations or abductions, it is normally somebody who is known to the individual.
Yeah, about 95%.
Yes, indeed.
Homicides are committed by someone known to the victim. Neil, did you?
Okay. Hold on. Okay, I hope you all can hear me now. Again, I was not intending to show the whole thing. I'm not going to do that either. But what I want to point out here, hold on, no, that's not what I wanted to show. What I wanted to point out here is that in this case, again, on the website of the police, they're requesting the people to break the silence. Why? Because what you need to understand is the following. When the public does not want something to be solved, they will do whatever they can, even at the risk of going to prison or getting in trouble with authorities, to not have it solved. Okay? Now, the possibility that this woman is still alive and she just decided to disappear voluntarily, that possibility is there, but it's not a high probability. Okay? Because if you want to disappear, at least you would bring your passport with you, you can travel. Okay? And nothing in this case seemed like she wanted to disappear voluntarily. All right? So if she was abducted, or whether or not, is irrelevant. They treat it as a murder inquiry because they highly suspect that she's not alive anymore. And if you witness that people are lying to the police just to mislead the police, then you know that if this case is solved, another scandal of the public will be revealed. Now, at this point, we can only speculate. Maybe the men she was sleeping with were men of prominence in society, men with high positions, maybe mayors, lawyers, medical doctors. I don't know, because I don't know who these men are. Okay? And maybe that's why they don't want the case to be solved, because if the potential suspects have to come in the open, it would shock a lot of people. Okay, maybe the men she was sleeping with were married men who had important roles in society, and those men, if their reputation is destroyed, it will lead to more embarrassment and more psychological and financial damage in the community, and that's why people don't want to talk about it. I mean, if she was sleeping around with some low-life men without any job, without any involvement in the community, people wouldn't care that much it to come out. Okay, it would still be an embarrassment, because why is a daughter of a successful solicitor doing sleeping with guys like that? It would still be an embarrassment, but it wouldn't be a community embarrassment. The behavior of the public in this case shows that if the case is ever to be solved, what actually happens, it would bring shame and embarrassment to the local community. And if there's shame and embarrassment on the local community, it would also mess up the finances and prospect futures of the people there in New York. That's why people do not want to talk about it. I mean, just an example. Let's say it was an asylum seeker or some migrant entered Britain that killed her. I mean, with the anti-migrant sentiment that's growing in Britain, you think people would remain silent if that was the case? I mean, just think about it. If the scenario was open that it was an asylum seeker, from a specific demographic or a specific religion that likely did this crime, do you think people would remain silent about that? No, they wouldn't. They would be running their mouth. Especially the racist folks would run their mouth and say, you see, that's why we need to close our borders because our women are not safe with all these people coming in. If that was a scenario, they would be running their mouths right now. And they would put pressure on authorities to arrest the guy. But what if the perpetrator or perpetrators are not, crooked criminals? They're not migrants or asylum seekers, none of that, but they're just locals or people of high regard. In that case, there's an investment in not discussing the case. And that is what's happening right now. So, can we conclude 100% that this woman is dead? Unfortunately, we cannot conclude that. Well, I'll say fortunate because that means she might still be alive. Might. But that probability for being alive is not that high. It's unfortunate because now we can't close the case. Okay, but anyway, whether or not she's dead or alive, the fact she's been gone for so long and people just moved on, they don't even want to talk about it. They even are lying to the police, risking getting a criminal record, risking going to prison, shows that it was a community effort. Okay? For those who are still here, do you understand what I just explained to you about this being a community effort? Let me know in the live chat. Let me know. And this is not the only case where you notice this. So this isn't just a weirdo that was stalking her or a crazy ex that couldn't handle her leaving her that you just want to go out there and kill her or get rid of her. Even if that was scenario, the fact people keep it silent, that means that whoever the perpetrators are dear to them. I don't want that to come out. Will this case ever be solved? It likely at some point is going to be solved. But right now, it is not being solved because the people don't want it to be solved. Okay? And then I'm going to show the following over here. This was something I found when I was looking about this case. And it says that missing persons seem to matter less when they're black. Okay, I'm not going to talk that much about this right now, but it's an article that reveals how, in this case in Britain, when the missing persons are from a certain demographic, in this case from African ancestry or African descent, the interest in solving the case is much less. Well, this has to deal with the demographics of Britain. The majority are from European descent. So if someone's European descent is missing, the majority of the population can identify with the one that's missing. And humans tend to make effort for those they identify with. Okay, it doesn't mean it's okay to dismiss when people are not from, you can't identify with people, but when you can identify with people because people are similar to you, you're more likely to make effort for them psychologically. That's how a lot of people in the world are. But this show you that let's look at this very well. You have people of color going missing in Britain and there's less effort made for them. Okay, well, this woman over here, she belongs to the dominant ethnicity of Britain. Okay, and she's a woman also. How the heck is she gone and the public interest in getting this solved is so low, even after 15 years? It's one thing if it was a woman from Kenya or from Saudi Arabia that went missing, and the public is not that interested or in making effort for it. But in this case, is one of their own women, one of their own daughters. This woman could have been someone's. They could relate this woman as their sister, wife, or sister-in-law, or mom, or daughter, whatever, or auntie. Someone they can identify with. How come someone the dominant society can identify with is gone and the interest in getting it solved is so low? It's because they're in on it. That's why. Simple as that. Okay, let me stop the screen sharing right now. Hold on, hold on. Okay. Some ask the question, how to break down community effort? Well, the term where it says community effort simply means community, or let me say, from a community, a big portion of the adults, sometimes even people in the late teens, are part of getting something done, whether it's organizing a party or whether it's doing an investigation, or in this case, hindering something from coming out. So there's community effort here in not having this case solved. So what should be looked into is what? There are two things we have to look at. What was the scandal that Claudia Lawrence was involved in personally that would upset the reputation of the community if it came out? Or it can also be that the scandal has nothing to do with Claudia nor her lifestyle. It can also be that there was some failure happening in British society in that area in York, some failure of that people don't want to admit, and the failure was upsetting people. And now, out of the blue, people now just to find an outlet, they murmur about this 35, 34, now then 35-year-old woman who's so-called sexually loose, who doesn't have a husband yet. Okay, that she was a bit sexually unstable, people didn't care about it at all. Who cares? She's 35, living her life. It's a modern era, whatever. But then maybe it's the finances of Yorkshire. Maybe it's, I don't know, some political drama. I don't know what. There may have been some not some failure happening in society at the time in 2000, maybe 2008, 2009, and people didn't want to deal with the failure, but people were still upset by it. And because we're upset by it, it generated unrest in them. And suddenly now, the fact that you have women around who are sexually unstable begins to irritate people. It didn't irritate them before, but now it does irritate them because they need an outlet. And it can be that because of that, she became the outlet, and some cult or some group of people did a dirty job by offering relief to the masses. Now, what was a scandal then? Well, that's something for you to figure out. Was there any scandal or some kind of failure, societal failure going on in Yorkshire at the time of her disappearance, or a little bit before that? That may bring the key to who may have done the dirty job. And hold on, let me check. Yeah, Lawrence. By the way, Kelly Leiva. That sounds like a Portuguese name, but I'm not sure. Did I answer your question to you? Let me. Did I answer your question? Let me know, please. Now I'm about to show you all the CCTV footage of this case in chronological order. I found this online. By the way, it's not my video. Or credit whom credit is due. Okay. So I'm about to show that now. Hold on. Here, screen. Okay. By the way, it's not my video. It's published by someone called Aaron Storner. Or credit whom credit is due. I'm just doing it for educational purposes. Is it playing? Hold on. Let me remove the camera here. Okay. Okay, let's start again. By the way, if any questions or remarks, meanwhile, you can make them. I'm just playing CC footage for you. I'm going to answer your question very soon, Kelly. One moment. That's the place where I used to work. She's living there. As I mentioned before, she was not um, working, live in some isolated place. Okay, someone asked the question, what are the spirits running those kind of community efforts? It's mainly fear spirits and also, I'd say, confusion and lost spirits, mostly involved in that. But that's the paranormal side of it. See all those cars over there? Let me pull back. See all those cars over there? It was it's a busy place. You mean to tell me? Look at all the traffic over here, people coming by and all of that. This is not some village in the middle of nowhere in some forest in Britain. Okay, this is Yorkshire. I remember the pub was around the corner from my house. By the way, this is in some corner in the street of our house. So if you walk in this direction over here, you'll end up in a path leading to her place, her backyard. Okay, let's see if I have the Google Maps still to show it to you. Okay, let me close all of this down. Okay, the next head. Oh, the next head in Yorkshire, my bad. Hayward Road. Okay, that footage over there, was it this over here, this street over here that you see, is this part over here. As a matter of fact, let me do a 3D. You see that? Okay, look at this over here. Okay, well, hold on. Let me go a little bit closer. That over there and this. See that? It's similar because it's the same place. Here. Okay, let me go a bit outside of it. Yeah, that's it. So the camera should have been placed likely somewhere here, but I can't get closer with Google Earth, unfortunately. So let's continue. And because back here, go into, hold on, let me go to 2D. You go back here, you may end up somewhere where a house was, on this spot over here. So these individuals were seen around the place. So people thought it was a bit suspicious. So that's the background to the CCTV footage. Individual walks that direction, walks back very quickly. Why? Okay. Okay. I'm not saying it's related to her or the case, but it was a bit off. And look at this. There's cars passing by all the times. So it was not an isolated place. There was a morning should have left for work. Someone walks in the direction, walks very back very quickly. Okay. Now look, I'm showing all this footage to you that someone else uploaded, okay? I want you to understand the following. When there is community effort in the negative to keep something hidden or to disrupt something, it's not easy to break down that effort, especially not if you're not a believer. Okay? Even if you are a believer, you have to be delivered and walk in power to break it. There are thousands of court cases out there that are not solved, sometimes for decades because of community effort. Often it's only when the conspirators in this community effort pass away that finally it all comes out. By the way, do you guys have any questions about this topic? Because this case relates um, to negative investments of the public. When there's community effort to keep a crime hidden, or not just a crime hidden, when there's a community effort in getting rid of someone or in not wanting something to be solved, that itself is a negative investment. So that's what the topic relates to, this case. Are there any questions about the topic or about this? Not really about the case, because I can't answer anything about everything about the case, but do you have any remarks or anything you want to ask about the topic? Let me know in the live chat, please. I'm near the end of this live stream, by the way. It's been almost 2 hours. Listen, you all. This is why I say to believers all the time that we need to be sensitive and alert. This whole facade that people in the world want solutions is not true. A woman going missing like this is a murder inquiry. That type of anxiety in the community is not handy. It's not healthy. Okay? Because that anxiety in the community feeds evil spirits. And you shouldn't want evil spirits to become relevant in your community. Unless you are in league with the demons to get societal ease. Then it will be a different case. So my temporary conclusion about this case is, by the way, it's a temporary conclusion. So it's a kind of a speculation. I admit that. I can be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm glad if you prove me wrong. But my temporary conclusion is that this woman was blood sacrificed because the public either didn't want to face their common failures in over there, and she just became the outlet for the public's unrest, or she herself was in some sexual scandal that involved prominent figures in the community, and that's why people want her gone so that things won't come out and embarrass them. It's one of the two. Me personally, I don't believe she's alive anymore. She would have reached out to someone throughout all this year, especially when of 2009 social media expanded. She would have reached out. She didn't. Okay. But anyway, I don't see any other questions over here. So, okay, I'm about to close now. Hold on, let me close this down. Anyway, thank you all for being here, watching this live stream. I hope this live stream educated you. Again, my temporary conclusion is just based on all the evidence and information available. I can be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, because it's not a fun conclusion I came to. But just learn to be ahead, be alert in daily life, and realize when the public wants to escape, they'll make effort to escape. And when they can't escape, they will escalate on victims. Okay? Make sure you don't become that victim. All right? Pray for just keeping praying and fasting, do all of that. And again, before I leave, hit the like button, share this live stream, subscribe to the channel, become a member of the channel, donate in the links below. You can do it on PayPal and through my bank link. The bank link may need Apple Pay for it to work, maybe. Okay, but anyway, thanks for being here, and don't forget, show some love also by checking my novels on Amazon. You can purchase them. I recommend these two over here. Nice stories that I wrote. And above all, stay safe, keep agreeing with Christ, and don't forget to donate the links below and subscribe. Be at peace. Shalom. Where is the... Oh, here it is. Bye.